What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go. What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now. Hope y'all are having a good day. I hope you're out there making it do what it do. I hope you're out there impacting the world. And I hope you're out there harnessing all the goodness that's inside of you and pushing it out there and not subjecting other folks to having to deal with a lesser version or a lesser form of you. I hope you're putting all of you out there into the world, because the world needs you, fellas. The world needs you. I recently heard a quote or saw a quote floating around on social media from Nelson Mandela, and it said that fools multiply when wise men are silent. Ouch. Stand up, fellas. You got to stand up. But hope y'all are having a good one. Today is an episode that's not necessarily as quick as the typical, 5 to 8 minute snippets, but it is a much needed episode. And today I'm going to talk about how getting out of the way and letting God work in the situation is what you need to do. Getting out of the way and letting God work in the situation is what you need to do. And this all actually spawned from my family and I's recent trip to LA to visit my wife's side of the family. And so a little background, we live in Tennessee and we are typically about a 3-hour drive to Atlanta. And because of the travel and because I had a speaking engagement in Georgia afterwards, we flew out of Atlanta to go to LA. So that we were closer to, the speaking engagement down in Augusta, Georgia after we were done. It would be closer to, fly out of Atlanta and get there afterwards. So long story short, it typically takes 3 hours to drive from Knoxville to Atlanta. And even with a little bit of Atlanta traffic, typically an extra 30 minutes maybe to get through to the airport. So at max, you're typically talking 3.5 hours to get from our door to the Atlanta airport. Typically 3.5 hours. And we usually build in about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, to get there so that we have enough flexibility in case we run into some other traffic. This time, we gave ourselves about 5.5 hours to get from Knoxville to the Atlanta airport to have time enough to get on our flight and board for Los Angeles. We literally never run into traffic in Tennessee. But all of a sudden, the day that we decided to leave on a Saturday afternoon, there was crazy traffic going down Interstate 75 in Tennessee. Literally, we were delayed almost 2 hours just in Tennessee. Remember, it's about a 3.5 hour ride. We built about 5.5 to get to the airport. So we were already, after the delay in Tennessee, pretty much going to have to hump it to get to the airport. And so we went through Tennessee, crossed the border into Georgia. All of a sudden, obviously, after you get down towards Atlanta, you know what happens again, more traffic. We had built this traffic into our travel. We did not build in the traffic from Tennessee. So long story short, it was not looking like we were going to make our flight to Los Angeles from Atlanta. And we had built in enough time to get there. But the whole time going down, we were concerned, but the response from both my wife and I were like, you know what? We're going to be all right. It's all good. We're going to be all right. We continuously claimed that. I was praying about it because I was saying it, but I wasn't necessarily believing it. But so I was praying. I was like, God, let this thing work. Let this thing work. So long story short, we had to fly getting down there. We ended up getting to the airport and our flight was scheduled to leave at 6:30, and we had to go to an off-site parking and get the car seats out. And usually we have these big car seat covers, which makes transport of the car seats pretty easy as you go through the airport. But because we were rushing, I didn't have time to load them in. So I was just yanking them out the car, just with the bags, getting the kids into the shuttle. We threw all the car seats, threw our bags in the shuttle, and I threw the car seats in the shuttle without the car seat covers. So they were harder to maneuver. I had to literally throw them all over my shoulders, and it was crazy, right? So anyway, we ended up getting to the shuttle place roughly about 5:40-ish. So about 50 minutes before takeoff. But we were just like, Lord, we can make this thing, right? Because there's been other times we've gotten to an airport really, really tight, and it actually worked. So we were thinking this was going to happen. So long story short, the shuttle took its time getting to the terminal. We actually got to the gate, and we got to the gate within 45 minutes of boarding. And if you get to the gate within 45 minutes of boarding, they will not allow you to board with your bags. And we had car seats. So it wasn't like we could just leave and do something with them. We couldn't. We can't travel without the car seats because we have kids that are too small. So long story short, we got to the gate at like we got to the counter or the check-in at like 5:45, and our flight, or right after that, so it was like 5:50. Our flight was at 6:30. Within that 45-minute window, we could not check in. We were just like, dang, we're going to miss our flight to Los Angeles. And another caveat, we bought the tickets on an airline. I'm not going to give them a shout out because, they didn't pay for this spot. But we bought the tickets on an airline, and the tickets that we bought were these kind of budget tickets where you can't transfer them, you can't move to another flight. Basically, if you miss your flight, you just miss your flight. That was it. The only other way for you to get out of there would be to fly standby should you miss your flight. And we have 4 people flying out. So 4 people on standby is not always a great proposition, right? So long story short, we got to the airport and we pulled up to the check-in at 5:50. Our flight was at 6:30. It was within that 45-minute window. They basically said, look, we can get you on the standby flight for 6 o'clock in the morning, the next morning, and get you guys out to LA, but it's standby. There's no guarantee you're going to get it. So sorry, the kind of ticket you bought, that's the only thing that you can do. Literally, we were deflated because first off, a 6:30 in the morning standby flight means you get to the airport at like 4 o'clock in the morning, again, with a 5 and a 7-year-old. And then there's no guarantee that you're going to get on the flight. So we were just like, fine, there's really no other option because we weren't going to pay, $2,000 for a one-way trip to, Los Angeles one way last minute. So we weren't going to do that. So long story short, we just pretty much took the L and said, you know what? Let's go ahead and, I guess get a hotel room somewhere close to the airport because we got to be back at 4 a.m. And let's get something to eat. The kids are hungry. We've been flying down here. It is what it is. So we literally were I was dragging these car seats around because I didn't have my car seat covers. And one of the kids had one bag and my wife had the other bag, and we were just kind of looking disheveled. Then all of a sudden somebody was walking around and they saw me dragging these car seats, and there was one of those little push carts that you typically pay $5 for, and they were just like, here, take this. They just gave us a push cart. It was pretty interesting. Things, I guess they saw us struggling and they saw a little bit of frustration on our face. They just gave us a little push cart to go through the airport with the 2 big car seats and, the bags that we had. So that made our transport a little bit easier. And I wasn't looking like, somebody then just kicked my dog, dragging the stuff through the airport. But we were still frustrated and disappointed. So as we were walking to the ground transportation to, look for a hotel and, figure out what we're going to do next, my wife was on the phone calling her parents saying we weren't going to be there tonight. And, I was calling my parents saying that it didn't look like we were leaving out. I mean, just updating everyone. Both of us literally just started saying a little prayer. Just like, if miracles can happen, it would be neat for one to happen right now. I mean, I'll just say that's what happened. If miracles can happen, it would be nice for one to happen right now. But even then, I didn't quite believe much was going to happen. And neither did my wife. We were just frustrated. So we were sitting at ground transportation. I was looking on my phone, looking for a hotel deal for the evening. And I saw an alert from the airline app that said, your flight has been delayed 15 minutes. And so at this point, the flight was supposed to take off at 6:30, and it said it's been delayed till 6:45. And this was right at about, I think, 6:25 when I looked at the app. And it just randomly popped up as I was searching for a hotel for the evening. 6:25, the flight was supposed to leave at 6:30. I got an alert and said, your flight has been delayed 15 minutes. And so I told my wife that. I was like, man, had we been sitting at the gate, at the moment and not left the gate, and the flight got delayed, that would have opened up the window for 45 minutes. Maybe we could have boarded at that particular moment. And so, but at the end of the day, at the point, it was still 6:30. It was delayed until 6:45. So we didn't have any time for that. So I continued looking on my phone. My wife was on the phone, talking to her parents. I was looking for a hotel deal. Then all of a sudden, another alert popped and said, your flight is now delayed from 6:45 to 7 o'clock. We were like, this is interesting. So I asked my wife, I was like, do you think we should go back to the gate? Both of us were kind of frustrated. Again, we had just prayed for some kind of miracle to happen. Think about that, marinate on that. But she said, why not? Let's go back to the gate and see what's up and let them know that you got an alert about the delay. So we walked all the way back to the gate using the push cart that was given to us. So it was not an uncomfortable walk anymore. We got back to the gate and there was a gate agent there. Everything was cleared out because people had left to board their flights. And at the ticket counter, the agent that was there, we mentioned to him, hey, our flight was supposed to leave at 6:30. I got an alert that said the flight now is delayed till 7 o'clock. If this thing continues to get delayed, will it then open up the window of 45 minutes for us to now board our flight and get on it because it's continuously getting delayed? The guy at the gate said, man, there's nothing I can do. I'm sorry. They shut the system down. I can't override it. And plus, that's not something that we do anyway. And I was like, so if this thing continuously gets delayed and the window opens up, there's nothing you can do to get our bags back and allow us to go through security? He said, sir, it's nothing I can do, but hold up. That guy over there actually can. He pointed to his manager who happened to be walking back over towards the counter. And as the manager came, I explained the situation to him. And he said, man, your flight going to Los Angeles. He was like, oh man, that's a mechanical issue. That flight is not going to take off. Y'all are actually not leaving until 8:30. Y'all are actually not leaving until 8:30. Y'all are actually not leaving until 8:30 because we have to bring another plane in for you. We had just prayed for a miracle. We wanted to get to the West Coast to see my wife's side of the family. All of a sudden, it appears like this miracle is about to happen. And so the manager that had just walked over to the gate said, you know what? I can override this. And I can actually get you all on the flight because you all aren't taking off. Because at this point, it was almost 7 o'clock. You all aren't taking off for another hour and a half because we're waiting on another flight. Hey, slide over, man. Let me go ahead and enter my code in here and override this so I can get these people on this flight. Long story short, we got to the airport within the 45-minute window, which was not enough time to board our flight. But there was a force bigger than us at work because we got there in not enough time. But the flight that we were supposed to board wasn't taking off anyway. They brought another flight in that was specially designed for all of us to get to where we were going. I said all that to say this. I know people have different belief structures. I know people approach life from different angles and have varying views on the higher power and God and all of that. I am a believer. And 100%, I believe that when it's his will and he wants something to happen, you stay out of the way and watch him work. But you got to have the faith to believe that it can happen. Our faith was tested. But I think what he showed us, my wife and I and our family and all those that are involved in, our travel, the family that we were going to visit and everything, I think what he was trying to show us is, you know what? I need to give you all an example. I need to give you all something tangible for you to see that, look, I'm real. And I don't want you to worry. Just keep doing what you're supposed to doing. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'll handle the rest. The caveat, you have to keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Had I not consulted with my wife on whether or not we should go back to the counter and just pretty much gave up and said, you know what? We just have to charge it to the game and jump on a standby flight the next morning, none of this would have happened. You have to do what you're supposed to be doing as well. If I was not carrying the car seats, yes, carrying them in an odd manner, but if I wasn't carrying the car seats, there wouldn't have been somebody there to slide a cart over and say, here, man, throw y'all stuff on this cart. Y'all can have it. We have to do what we're supposed to be doing. But then we also have to have the faith that he is going to do what he said he was going to do, which is take care of us. So I said all that to say, y'all have a little bit of faith. Do what you're supposed to be doing, but have a little bit of faith. It's going to be all right. No matter how challenging or tough things are right now, it's going to be all right. In the long run, it's going to be all right. More dreams are killed by impatience than failure. I heard that from a speaker named John Acuff, listening to him do an interview. More dreams are killed by impatience than failure. Y'all have a little bit of faith. All right. Well, as always, y'all, give me a follow, blackfathersnow.com. I am MikeDorsey.com. If you're interested in having me come speak to your school, your elementary, middle, high school, your university, your workshop, your group, fatherhood, anything, if you're interested in having me to come out and kind of empower your group, give me a shout. Hit me up. I am MikeDorsey.com. Holler at me on social media. You can hit me. I am Mike Dorsey on Instagram. Make sure to follow Black Fathers Now on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And share this episode out. Share this episode out, especially with other brothers who are on that journey of fatherhood, because in the midst of fatherhood, we have to do what we're supposed to be doing, but we also got to have a little bit of faith. All right? We got to have a little bit of faith. This episode has been brought to you by blackfamilyapparel.com. Grab some dope apparel that celebrates the nuances of the Black family. Look, the holidays are coming. Get your Christmas gifts. blackfamilyapparel.com. Buy from us ASAP. Come on. Visit it. Good stuff. Great gifts. Great items. Celebrate the nuances of the Black family. And fellas and the ladies listening too, until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace. Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always, always, always visit blackfathersnow.com, as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.